Hey loves, my name is Kyle August and welcome to basically a workshop on completely getting rid of negative thoughts so you can manifest exactly what you desire right here and right now. Now, this is obviously mainly focused on a specific person, but you could actually use this for any manifestation that you want. Because the questions we're going to answer today that I've been asked, and I think they're perfect for this situation, are one, how do I get rid of negative thoughts? An answer or a question most people have, which we have the answer to here. Number two, why is it taking so long? So your manifestation, we always worry about time. And then three, what if your crush just isn't meant to be with you? What if me and my specific person just aren't meant to be? Now, if you've ever had any of those questions, this video is going to completely change your mind about every single one of them because we do have two success stories as well. And just to kind of quote one, so the purpose of everything we're doing here is from their success story, and we'll talk about it later, is quote, "I got my ex back. He came to my house with roses and told me how much he loved me." So if you want your specific person to show up to your house with roses, telling you how much they love you, that's the purpose of this video. So let's dive into the first question, and that is, how do I get rid of negative thoughts? A very common question and something we kind of worry about a lot when we're manifesting. And the trick is to remember everything in manifestation is always in the positive, meaning we are always bringing to us that which we are thinking about or assuming and believing. You're never pushing anything away, meaning that when you are thinking something positive, it means you are bringing this positive, or more correctly, we're expressing positive. We're not pushing negative away. And the same thing goes with negative thinking. When we're thinking negative, we are bringing or expressing positive. We aren't pushing negative away. And that is a very, very good example and a way to perceive it, because then we're going to realize anytime we get into a negative thinking or a negative mindset, we're going to remember that we're actually choosing it, okay? Because we're actively choosing, we're actually seeing, we're actually thinking about this negative outcome. And we'll talk a little bit more about that because it's actually the way you're seeing your immediate future. But I actually want you to think of your manifestation like a garden, okay? In a garden, you're always planting exactly what you want. And obviously, sometimes weeds get planted unintentionally, but what do we do with those weeds? We get rid of them, right? We get rid of the things that we are introducing, and we plant exactly what we want. So what would you say your mental garden looks like right now? If your mind, your thoughts, your mental diet was a garden, what would be the plants, the seeds that you are growing? Would you say these seeds support where you want to go? They support your specific person and your end state? Or do they support something else? Are we watering and nurturing some weeds that we don't necessarily want? Because remember, you get to pick. You're the gardener. You can choose in your mind what plants you want there, what thoughts, what beliefs. You are always in control. And now, again, sometimes it feels like we never choose weeds, right? Or it never seems like we choose weeds. And sometimes they just show up. But that's okay too, right? Take your attention, remove that weed from your garden. Take your attention off of it. Stop giving your attention and energy to something you don't want, and you're going to see it shift. Because again, the weed can't exist. Now, I know in gardening it seems a little different, but the weed is not going to exist if you uproot it, if you don't water it, if you don't allow it to get any sunlight, right? If you don't nurture it and you nurture what you want, you're going to see a complete shift in everything happening. So an example, if you want to make salsa, your garden must contain tomatoes and peppers, right? So if you want a loving relationship, what types of seeds are you planting? And again, this goes into this idea of if you looked at a garden and you're like, well, how do I get rid of the weeds? Well, you just tear them out, you stop nurturing them, right? And that is the same thing when it comes to our assumptions, to our negative thoughts. But again, I always want you to remember, weeds don't pop up by pushing away anything, right? They are added. So everything is added. Manifestation is always in the positive. It's always coming to you. So start to introduce positive thoughts. Again, I asked the question, maybe comment it down below. If you want a loving relationship, what types of seeds would you plant? And this is actually something, if you just pay attention to, again, kind of like the mental diet of what seeds you're allowing in your reality. I do like the seed metaphor because planting a seed is just like the same concept of planting or introducing a manifestation, because that is something that we're planting within our mind, within our reality. They sometimes think of it as the conscious mind impregnating the subconscious mind and then bringing forth that creation. And so I'm going to give you a Neville Goddard quote, because your garden doesn't care. It will reproduce any single seed that you plant in it. So again, make sure that we are picking and choosing the seeds that we want. But here's that Neville Goddard quote. So it's, life does not care whether you call yourself rich or poor, strong or weak. It will eternally reward you for that which you claim true of yourself. So what is true of you right now? It's, again, and I know I keep saying this, but it really is powerful to think of it as a garden. What is growing in your garden? What would you say is true of you right here and right now? And then I want you to ask yourself, if I want a loving relationship, is this something that supports that? And then pick and choose, get rid of the weeds, add the proper seeds, making salsa, you need tomatoes. If you don't have tomatoes, you're never going to make the salsa that you want. But further on this idea of negative thoughts, because you still may be thinking, okay, that makes sense. But in the moment, it doesn't feel that way. Sometimes negative thoughts feel like they're coming on to you out of nowhere, and we have no choice of it. But I want you to ask yourself, there's a certain question you can think about when you're having a negative thought to see where our attention is lying. And so whenever we're having negative thoughts, I want you to think about how you are perceiving your immediate future, okay? What does your immediate future look like? Or when you're in a negative mindset, ask yourself, where do I see myself in a week? Where do I see myself in a month? Where do I see myself in a year? And if you guys know where I'm going with this, you're going to know that your negative mindset is going to be really bad outcomes, right? We're going to think in a week, I'll be crying. In a month, I'll be single. In a year, I'll be without a Valentine's, right? We're going to have really negative mindsets on that. But is that true? Because the actual only reason that we're feeling bad is because we are perceiving our future in that way. We're not perceiving the future because we're feeling negative. We are feeling negative because we are perceiving the future in that way. And because if you weren't feeling the greatest right now, but I told you, no, here's the example I used in a coaching session one time. I think you guys are really going to like. So imagine the next 24 hours, you have to work 24 hours straight at your job. How do you feel? Take a moment here. Just really think. That does not sound fun at all. It's exhausting, worried, stressful, right? All of these negative ideas and beliefs. But what if I told you after those 24 hours, you're actually going to get paid $1 million? That's actually going to be your payment for working those 24 hours. Now, how do you feel towards that 24 hours? Everything is kind of the same, right? You're going to be like, oh, you probably wouldn't actually be that stressed at all. Maybe you'd be tired, but still the view of your future completely changed the way you are perceiving that thing. So if whatever you're experiencing, if in the future you are perceiving it to be bad or to be negative, then we're going to feel bad and negative now. Because next time you feel positive, ask yourself, where do you see yourself in a week, a month, a year? You're going to say a week, SP's blowing up my phone, a month, dates with my SP, and a year, married to my specific person. So the way that we are actually perceiving the future has a massive, massive effect on the way we are going to feel right here and right now. So again, it's always going to match your feeling because your feeling is coming from the thought. Like think of your specific person not texting you back, okay? Let's say you text them and they haven't texted back for a couple hours. Does that necessarily make you feel bad? And you're going to say, well, no, right? That doesn't make me feel bad. The thought that they're never going to text me, that makes me feel bad. Because in your end state, your specific person may not text you for a couple hours, right? Maybe they're at work, at their job. Maybe they're setting up a surprise birthday party for you, which someone had manifested before. It's like those sorts of things totally change the perspective based on our outlook, right? Because if you know they're at work and you're thinking after work, we're going to be together, going to be cuddling, watching a movie, then the wait seemingly doesn't feel negative at all. But as soon as you then shift the thinking to if during this time you feel it means they're never going to message you again, that's when we start to feel really, really negative. So always keep in mind, and the future is always an illusion. So I know I use the term future, but there really is no such thing as the future or the past. There's only right here and right now. But the way that we are perceiving it makes us feel as if we have it right here and right now. And that is going to be the power when you are manifesting. So next, we covered the total concept of how to get rid of negative thoughts. And if you did have any questions at all on that, definitely comment them down below. But now I want to work into the next idea. And I actually just made a video on this about time, but I wanted to revisit it just because of some extra comments that were on the videos about maybe some confusion about what's going on. I think most people got it though. But the next question is, why is it taking so long? Why is our manifestation taking so long? And that is in itself a negative thought. And so we could even use what we learned already to focus on this. So if you're saying, why is it taking so long? What is our perceived future? The fear that it's not going to work out. But sometimes we feel certain things need to take time, or that our manifestation is far away. And again, it does point towards the future of how we are perceiving, or it actually focuses on a lack of abundant thinking. And I'll explain it based on a comment that someone mentioned. And I'll show you how sometimes we perceive the need for time, this illusion, as our reality when it really is not. And I made a video already, I think yesterday, it was yesterday's video, about the concept of you will never see something in your reality if you've totally cut off the possibility. Your mind and your beliefs are always reflecting. So something not happening quick enough or something not being successful for you is always from a lack of abundant thinking. And I'll explain it in really quickly by another comment that someone put. So someone commented on one of my videos and kind of I didn't want to put it up on here, didn't want to put anyone on blast because all my comments, no one's on blast unless you comment yourself and call yourself out for it. But I would love comments that are questioning everything. So, excuse me, if you guys have questions that comment or if you have questions that question anything, definitely comment them down below because I love that. It expands our way of thinking. And if you think something like that, you are going to find most likely other people are thinking the same thing, and it's going to be a really quick and simple answer, and then you're going to realize anything you worried about that question doesn't make sense. So someone commented, time matters. I can't decide to go to Japan in seconds, and that's okay. So that's their comment, okay? It's kind of it was an end kind of the comment, because I didn't want to put the full comment, but so it said, time matters. I can't decide to go to Japan in seconds, and that's okay. And first off, I will say, yeah, that is okay. If that is what you want in your reality, that's perfectly fine. And I want you guys to think, do you feel that way right now? I can't go to Japan in seconds. Is that something you feel is your reality? And maybe you're thinking, yeah, I don't really know how I'll go to Japan in seconds. Depending on where you're at, the flight probably takes a long time. But it doesn't have to be your reality. When you think that, just because you think that does not make it true. And I'll show you exactly how. So, what if teleportation was invented and manifested in your reality? What would you have to say to me then, that version of you that said, I can't go to Japan in a second? What's the difference? Just because teleportation exists, why should that change your belief? If you knew teleportation was always a possibility, your belief never should have been that you can't manifest in seconds. Do you guys see what I did there? Because then, again, thinking or getting to a possibility, if you make the statement, I can't go to Japan in seconds, you will never be able to create or manifest this theoretical teleportation, right? And again, it could fit in a logical bridge of events. Like if scientists came out and said we invented a time machine or a teleportation device, everyone would be like, oh, that's cool. Let me go use it. We wouldn't question it at all because the belief created it in our reality and gave it to us through the bridge of events. But that doesn't mean that anything is without the ability. But the person, so let's say I said that. Let's say we have this idea, you can't go to Japan in seconds, and then teleportation existed. What would anyone who thought that say? Oh, that would have happened anyway, right? Oh, that would have just happened. Look, I'm looking at this bridge of events. It would have happened anyway. That's exactly what Neville Goddard says individuals will say when they perceive your manifestation from the outside. It is a mind. If we were unable to imagine or think, and everybody on earth thought it's impossible to go to Japan in seconds, even at a logical level, we just wouldn't be able to do it. Nobody would even attempt to make that change because you'd be like, it's impossible. There's no point. It's the same way. Henry Ford, and you guys can look this up. I think it's in it might be, no, I don't think. I was going to say Joseph Murphy or Neville Goddard, but I don't think I read it in their books. But basically, Henry Ford wanted an 8-cylinder engine that was a single block. Everybody said impossible. All his engineers said impossible, and he said, no, do it. Make it happen. It can be done. So he was this dreamer. He believed for everyone that it can be done. And a year passed, and the engineers were like, we are not even close to getting to this. And I don't know, it could have been 8 or 4 cylinders. I think it was everything in a single block. They're like, we still do not have any notice or way or perceivable end to this. And if they were in charge, we wouldn't have it today. But Henry Ford said, no, keep going. It can be done, and you guys are going to do it. And what do you know? We're in this reality where it existed. But think about that concept. Your mind is placing your limits on everything. So when you make the statement, why is it taking so long? It's our own limit and lack of abundant thinking in order to create that. Because again, the difference between the engineers creating the 8-block cylinder engine and not was Henry Ford's belief. Even if you take manifestation completely out of the picture, it was his belief and persistence in that idea that created it. And they didn't even have to believe it themselves, right? Well, I mean, they had to in order to create it, but it took time for them to be influenced. And so anytime you don't have any belief that you can manifest your specific person or create the life you want, I'll be here to continue with this belief and to help you get into that belief yourself. So hopefully this video is already doing that. But another question, so again, maybe the teleportation idea, maybe Henry Ford's block engine still isn't doing it for you. But I'll ask you then, so how long would it take you to manifest $1 million? Or not even manifest, how long would it take you to get $1 million? And we're all gonna have everyone in here would have a different answer. But what would that answer be based upon? And we'd say belief, right? And then if someone says a month, someone says a day, someone says a year, we would all have this different outcome, and it would be totally based on our belief. And because we believe it in that way, our assumption, what we're conscious recognizing ourselves to be, is going to create that. But let's say Now, to give this example, what about Elon Musk? How long does it take Elon Musk to make another $1 million? And I think you guys are maybe starting to totally realize that, oh my gosh, it is belief. Time has nothing to do, and I'll give you a good, nice little quote. Time, as I said before, is only here as an experience for learning. You only need time to grow and become that which you want to be. And then after that, you don't need time at all. Does it take time for you to learn again how to walk, drive, or I don't know, anything else? Does it take time for you to know your name is your name? Does it take time for you to know your address is your address? You would say no. That's all instantaneous. And you'd say, that's who I am, Kyle. But guess what? That's the same thing with everything else. Everything is just who you are, and that's why you are experiencing it in your reality. But let me give you a quote from A Course in Miracles that explains this very, very well. So here's the quote. Quote, "There is no relationship between the time a manifestation takes and the time it covers. The manifestation substitutes for learning that might have taken thousands of years." So meaning that a manifestation can give you, just through the recognition of yourself, what would be perceived previously to take thousands and thousands of years. And we could even jump back to the theoretical teleportation example. If everyone thought that's impossible, how long would it take them to do it? What would their effort be? Even, again, pulling back on the idea of manifestation, just think about it like logically, because I know some people are commenting, Kyle, explain it logically so it makes sense. Because manifestation is a fabric of our reality. Law of assumption is a fabric of our reality. You can't be outside of it. In the same way that right now we're experiencing gravity, like you can believe in gravity or not, you're still under its effects. But gravity is under the effects of the law of assumption. So remember that, okay? Meaning that it all is a belief. So whether you believe you can or you think you can't, you are under this concept of law of assumption. You can never be outside of it, okay? That's not, you are always recognizing yourself to be something and creating it. So again, jumping back to the idea of teleportation. If nobody thought it was possible, how hard would they work at it? How much time would they take? How long would it take for them to actually achieve it? Thousands and thousands, if not millions of years. If someone did not think this is possible, we should do this, it would never occur. It would literally take millions and billions of years. And so this manifestation through recognition of yourself is going to give you what would take, and it says thousands, but I wouldn't say millions and billions of years. It would give to you what would previously, again, take thousands, thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So do not limit yourself. That's the thing that just gets me going whenever people limit themselves, I can't handle it. I just cannot handle it because I see within you this power, this ability that even if you don't see in yourself, you can't be outside of it. You have the ability to create everything you want. But again, going back to the concept of time, time is okay, right? If you want it to take time, it can take time. Sometimes subconsciously we want it to take time. But to say that you can't change that is not true. The thinking that things can't happen based on a current belief doesn't make any sense. Because again, what would that individual say saying time matters because I can't decide to go to Japan in seconds? What if teleportation became a thing? What if we all, as a group right now, manifest and create teleportation to exist tomorrow? What would that person say to me? Would their belief be correct, right? And you'd be like, well, no. So was it ever correct? If it's not correct all the time, it can't be correct. In the same way that logic is not true in all cases. So logic is personal. Remember the Elon Musk example? How long would it take us to manifest $1 million as compared to Elon Musk? He would be tomorrow, right? We might be a year or a couple months or 10 years, depending on your belief, right? That's the difference though. Logic is personal. And so if logic is everywhere, it should be true for everything, but that's not the case. So do not limit yourself. Stop telling yourself things need to take time, because that's the only reason that we're taking time. And I'll explain it in the success story that I'm going to go over. So now I'm going to put up on the screen an email coaching success story. I know actually a lot of my recent success stories kind of have been from my email coaching, but here we go. So it says, "Hello, I don't even know where to start. I got my ex back. He left the third party and now we are together. He came to my house with roses and told me how much he loves me." That was what I alluded to at the beginning of the video. "He told me that she was just not me and that he knows now that I'm the woman he is meant to be with. He even wrote her a song." So he plays guitar and loves music. "This is magical. It was like a scene from a movie. Thank you so much for everything you taught me. Thank you." So let's take a look at this, okay? And again, we're going to get out of this concept of any sort of negative thinking, because I will give you the timeline of what was happening and how quickly, again, we were able to pull ourselves out of this negative thinking and actually change the concept of time. So the backstory of this person, they had broke up in May and they had no contact. So they broke up in May, started no contact in June. So we had met up in October. Okay. So this was 5 months. Wait, May, June. Yeah, 5 months since the breakup and 4 months since no contact. So they were 5 months broken up and 4 months no contact before we started working together. Okay. And so let me tell you, so think about that amount of time. And then I want you to look at the quotes. I took it right from their email of their limiting beliefs. So they said, quote, "It's really hard for me when he's choosing someone else right now," right? Because there's a third party. Quote, "Now I'm also worried about time because I want to be with him for my birthday in November and Christmas and New Year's Eve." So this worry about time as well. And again, I mentioned the third party, but this is also what they said. So think about if this was said to you. He said that one side of him wants me to wait for him, but the other side wants to be with her. So imagine your specific person saying that about the third party, okay? This is, again, quoted from the email. She said, "His words really hurt me. I'm triggered by what he said." And so I want you guys to think, if all of this happened, how would you perceive the amount of time it would take to achieve this success story that you're seeing on the screen? So again, if they broke up in May and had no contact since June, so 5 months of breakup, 4 months of no contact before we even started talking, how long do you think it should take to get to this success? So again, 4 months of not talking, no contact means no contact, right? So not talking at all. What type of limiting beliefs would we have on ourselves? We would think, well, one, I haven't been talking to my specific person, so how do we get this change? How do they know I'm different? And two, we'd be like, did they forget about me? They were with this third party before the no contact. Imagine the thoughts that you would have. But how long do you think from that point, put it in the comment section below, that it should have, again, this is all based on everyone's beliefs on time and our concept of our negative thinking of how we see the future. How long do you think we should go from that to playing them writing you a song, coming to your house with roses, telling you they love you, all of everything you're reading in there? How much time do you think that was? Because, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready for how quick we kind of change this? So this message came in October. If you remember, the same month we started working together. So within a month, and again, so 5 months breakup, 4 months no contact, we meet up within a month. This is the message that they sent to me. Okay? That's the power of belief and the power of intention when you know exactly what you're doing and when you remember that your belief is the thing that is stopping you from manifesting. So when you say, why is this taking so long? that's our assumption that we're creating in our reality. Because again, this almost seems like a miracle, right? And manifestation seems so magical and miraculous, but really it's all within our assumption of ourselves. So that intention is very, very powerful. So remember, the word or desire must be fixed or united with the consciousness to give it reality. So before this point, imagine what they were thinking, imagine what they were feeling, imagine what they were believing. And then, because again, we went over the circumstances, 4 months no contact, 5 months since the breakup, so they were talking. I can't imagine what type of stuff they were saying in between that, like in between the month of breaking up to the month of no contact, because obviously something must have happened to make that so. SP said to them, one side wants you to wait for them, but other side wants to be with her, right? Saying about the third party. And then there also time about they wanted to be with him for his birthday. And so if you guys see, they were. This person manifested literally right before November, spent Christmas and New Year's Eve with them, okay? And so think about that intentional shift. Again, from 4 months, not talking, we meet up, shift it up right before, actually it was like a month, it was in October, so it was like right before the birthday, created this new reality, literally SP writing a song about them. So even think about the behind the scenes action right now, because that's the thing that we want to remember is things are always happening behind the scenes, okay? So when you think of, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that because I just started. If you get into the state right now, you'll see your reality align everything because they were getting into the state and totally changed what they perceived as the past because then their specific person showed up with this song written about them. And you might be like, well, when was it written, right? And you would say behind the scenes, quantum leaping, because this isn't a quantum state, everything you're not conscious of, it can be whatever you want instantaneously and create whatever story behind the scenes. And the example I always like to use is going and eating at a restaurant. You don't need to see the food being made for it to prove to you that it is being cooked, right? So think about it in that way. Your reality's cooking up your manifestation. You don't have to see it to believe it. We just need to, again, fix or unite your desire and word with your consciousness to give it reality. And now for our last question. So the question is, what if your crush just isn't meant to be with you? What if your specific person just isn't meant to be with you? And so I want to introduce something called emotional reasoning. And I'll read you the definition of it. So it's the habit of making decisions based on how one feels rather than what is real. This can distort one's perception of their ability to manifest their desires. Well, that was kind of added in by me. But so what would cause you to say something like that? My crush isn't meant to be with me. We are acting on our emotions rather than our reality. This is a time we'd feel very down, very negative, and in a feeling of lack. And we would be acting or thinking upon our emotions rather than what is true in our reality. Because I want to ask you guys something, because someone might be like, well, isn't emotional reasoning could be an opposite, right? Like, we're trying to manifest someone, but they truly don't want to be with us. But think about this, and I'll ask you this question. Can you ever be without the possibility to achieve anything? Is there anything that is without or outside of your possibility? Again, we're not thinking of Japan in 3 seconds, right? We're thinking in any possible outcome, anything you could create with unlimited possibilities, is there anything you can't achieve? Because again, someone could say the Japan example. Yeah, but we know a way around that, right? We can create that. There is a path to it. Whether it is a path that is perfectly capable of you achieving right now or needs to be made, there's still a path to that. And so this question then is never true. When you say, what if your crush isn't meant to be with you? That makes no sense. What do you mean isn't meant to be with you? How could it never not be? There's a path from you to every single outcome you could ever want, and you can never be without that outcome. That's like saying, are you just not meant to learn how to play the xylophone? Is that a possibility? Are you ever without the ability to play the xylophone? Now, I don't play the xylophone. Maybe I never will, but I could never be without the possibility of it. Because when you say, maybe I'm just not meant to play the xylophone, who would say that? What sort of beliefs, ideas, and thoughts would be created in order for someone to think of that idea? They would be emotional reasoning, right? They would be thinking based on emotions, because you'd have to say someone who had said that would probably be having a hard time training or practicing, or something might have happened in their life that made them feel bad, right? This emotion is stirring up, and we begin to reason based on emotion. In the same way that if we receive a text, again, think of how you perceive your future has a huge impact on how we're feeling. If we receive a text and we feel, oh my gosh, they're never going to text me again, we may think, what if we're just not meant to be? This isn't happening. They hate me. They're ignoring me, right? All of this reasoning is based on an emotion, and emotions are irrational by nature, not meaning that we don't need to feel them, but meaning that you don't need any reason, or there never needs to be, I guess, any reason to actually feel them. Right now, you could feel happy, you could feel sad, you could feel upset. You could feel anything right now. If just through words, I could be speaking something to you. I could be like, you just won $1 million. Happy. You won't be a millionaire for 10 years. Sad, right? Like, or we could relate it to SP. Your SP is about to call you. Happy. You won't be with your SP for a month. Sad, right? Like, and nothing technically makes it, it's all irrational, because you could be like, well, how do you know I'm telling the truth about any of those, right? You don't. So we need to just stop assuming. And again, sometimes it doesn't feel that way. So catch yourself. If you are feeling like I'm not meant to be with my crush, again, feel the emotion, but remember, you're distorting your reality based on your emotion. Okay. So you could never learn the xylophone thinking, I'm just not meant to be with the xylophone, right? Because you are going to create that. And I'll go into something else. I'm kind of skipping ahead, but I think it adds to this. So let's say I'm going to introduce another idea. So we introduced emotional reasoning. So we are reasoning based on an emotion. So we're distorting our reality. But I also want you to think of something called confirmation bias. So I'll give you the definition of this. So the tendency to search for, interpret, and to recall information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs, leading to a skewed perception of reality. Again, another distorted perception of reality. So I want you to think about this. If we are then, and this is again like a scientific, logical way of viewing manifestation in the law of assumption. Whatever you assume, you are going to repeat back. If you and your crush aren't meant to be, your reality will make it that way. Maybe I should point out that quote by Neville Goddard I mentioned at the beginning. So again, life does not care that whether you call yourself rich or poor, strong or weak, it will eternally reward you with that which you claim yourself or claim as true of yourself. So if we're claiming as true that we're just not meant to be with our specific person, that's what we create, and we'll be totally distorted on our reality, because nobody believes me. Hopefully I'm impacting this into your mind very well. I didn't believe it in the past, but really everything is positive. Again, you can't be without the ability to achieve anything. It's impossible. You can think anything you want. In my reality, my perception of you, because I contain this belief, I know you can achieve it. And so all we have to do is just take upon this belief that I'm mentioning. But again, think of the xylophone idea. If you said, I'll never learn it, it's not meant to be, how would you approach practice? How would you think about it? How would you feel about it? You would be really, really kind of negative in this idea. And so that would then create and cause your reality to match it no matter what, because your reality doesn't care. Your subconscious does not care what you call yourself. It makes it so through the law of assumption. So what I want you to think about, and a way to actually perceive this in order to change it, I want you to use your mind on your reality like an echo chamber. Okay? So think about every time you state something, imagine it kind of echoing out into your reality. But what happens in an echo chamber? What you say bounces back right back at you. So if you say, and this is again that confirmation bias, where again, we're assuming as if we already have what we want, so it creates it. When you say, me and my specific person aren't meant to be, your whole reality echoes that back. It will make it so. But if you say, me and my specific person are perfect for each other, echo responds back in the same way. It's a different way of thinking about the mirror idea. Everything is a mirror in your reality. And when you realize the echo has no substance of itself, only to come from you, that's how you take control of your entire reality and shift it overnight. Because again, time, it's okay to wait to go to Japan. That is okay. But to say it's not possible, that's where I have a problem with that. And I really strongly dislike any words of kind of captivity, almost anything suppressing your power, because it's just not true, right? You can create, you can have whatever it is that you want. Stop limiting yourself. But again, the echo chamber, right? You are echoing things. It's going to echo right back. And again, I want to restate this because this is really powerful. The echoes, remember, have no substance of their own, are only coming from you. So you echo, my specific person isn't meant to be with me. That's what we see. And if you want to really think about it logically, because sometimes thinking of it logically, again, logic doesn't matter. So grain of salt here, confirmation bias. If you state it, you will make it so based on your assumptions. The tendency to search for, interpret, and recall information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs, leading to a skewed perception of reality. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. The 8-cylinder block engine would have never existed based on the law of assumption, or if you want to call it confirmation bias, that the engineer said it's impossible, it can't be done. Confirmation bias and the law of assumption also states the individual who's like, we can't go to Japan in seconds, also is under this idea. And until they shift out of it, will not see it in their reality. It literally will not exist. It's like how Neville Goddard would discuss how he wrote his book, one of his books on this concept of seeing through pure eyes. This is something, it's really, it can feel hard to accept, but whatever you're seeing comes from you. The echoes are always towards you. If you are seeing something negative in your reality, that is coming from you. Even in the very simple terms of we are perceiving and assuming it to be bad. Okay? What if, again, someone cuts you off on the freeway? I think I used this example in the past. What's your thought? Are they rude? Are they a jerk? Are they mean? Or are they going to the hospital to see a loved one who just got into an accident? Or they're going to see their newborn baby, right? How you view that person, the different assumption story you're creating changes how you feel. Because again, you turned into 3 different emotions, okay? 1, they cut you off, they're mean. Anger, right? That's your reality. 2, they're going to see someone in the hospital who got hurt. Sad, remorse, empathy on this individual. Again, we're picking our reality. Or they're going to see their newborn baby. Happiness, abundance. Like, think of how fun that is for them to go be doing that, right? We went through 3 emotions with 3 different outcomes. So your sight, what you are perceiving in your reality, is up to you. And I know that's kind of like a really basic way of thinking about it, but I think it stems when we stem it in logic. It's really much easier to understand, but that's your reality and that's what you're creating. So now I want to give this success story as well. It was actually one that was posted just a little bit ago, but I thought it was really cool. Not as crazy as the first one, so don't worry, but it's about someone who watched my video, so I'll read it for you. So they said, "This is so crazy. I just did the practice to revise my past situation," because that was the title of the video, "from my 14 days of love last year. This is a situation involving a lot of people. I don't think it would work, but I gave it a try. Basically, I denied everything that can't be proved. I choose myself. The next week, I texted my specific person who didn't talk to me for a month. Surprisingly, he texted me back something, feeling like you missed them. And this is the first time to express his feelings to me after we haven't known for a year. I didn't change a lot while I didn't change a lot while his personality had an instant shift. Really makes me overwhelmed. Okay, I know that's kind of a little bit hard to read. I was trying to interpret. Maybe they were so excited they were going crazy on the keyboard. But so think about that. The shift made them overwhelmed because it was so instant based on their perception. So before this point, they were perceiving their reality to be not good, right? Their belief, their assumptions, the creation, again, their confirmation bias, their emotional reasoning, their thought of maybe, are we not meant to be? Why is this taking so long? How do I get rid of the negative thoughts I probably had about it? All of that, it's like a perfect success story to show all of that being done in a single event where they go from this previous belief, revising it, and change. Again, it doesn't have to be crazy. Their shift overwhelmed them how fast it was. And so who knows what they would have were thinking before watching that video. They probably were thinking it would take years or decades, right, to create or change their reality. Or maybe even they thought it would never change. But based on, I think it's like a 10-minute video too, shifting the perspective and the practice they introduced because of it cause that level of shift. And so that is absolutely amazing and magnificent. But that's the power that you have in your reality right now and the power of your own assumption. Okay? Never, ever, ever limit yourself. And I know this kind of was a longer video, but hopefully this totally brings together. I think that it's basically like a workshop. I'm going to call this a workshop because of how intense it is on these ideas. So I want you to think about that. Review it. Take these ideas. The workshop portion then is taking these ideas and implementing them in your day right here and right now. Okay? How can you improve on your beliefs, your assumptions on time, right? Take all the ideas, maybe even rewatch this video. I know it's a longer one. Use it as an audiobook. A lot of people were using my videos as audiobooks, right? Someone was like, I was listening to you in the shower, right? Like stuff like that. Use it to your advantage because this can shift your reality. You can have your specific person showing up to your house with roses, telling them how much they love you. It is all based on your assumptions. And hopefully this is helping us change this concept of negative thoughts because truly it has nothing to do with our reality. Our assumptions are creating. Again, your reality doesn't care. Positive, negative, it's going to give you exactly what you want. So hopefully you guys like this video. If you did love it, if you love this sort of aspect and sort of like a workshop kind of video, give a thumbs up on this. Again, I wanted the announcement with the members. So I'm going to comment today because I made a post about all my members because I was giving away the free 30-minute weekly sessions for a month. So I'm going to work with someone of my members. I'm going to comment on that post. I'm going to do like a random number generator of the amount of comments, pick a random one, and then I'll post. And then you guys will know who kind of won it. So I'll do that today. So it might already even be done by the time this video goes up. But thanks again, all the members. So actually I would say I want to celebrate every kind of 100 we get to. So when we get to, if you're a member and you didn't get chosen for this time, again, everything happens perfectly. When we reach 200, I'm going to do it again. So remember, you're always going to be in the sessions to getting it. And I can't wait to work one-on-one with you. And also remember too, tomorrow, just a reminder, 1 p.m. Eastern time, I'm going live for all my members. Again, we're working together to manifest by the end of the month. So if you are not a member and you want to do that and manifest by Valentine's Day, hop in immediately and watch the previous videos because I already have 2 lives and a meditation going up every single day because I would just want to say thank you for all the members. But thanks to everyone who watches my videos. Hopefully, if you're commenting, I love all the comments, the questions, the ideas, the worries, the anxieties. I love it all. And I love your successes that you guys are sending me. If you did want to send me a personal message, didn't want to comment it down below, head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. That's where you can reach me personally. Again, I want to hear all the same ideas, your successes, worries, anxieties, any questions you have. I do get a lot of questions, so be patient with the response. Or you can send me another message if I wasn't able to respond in the amount of time you wanted. But I'm loving all of your guys' progress. You are doing fantastic. Again, do not limit yourself. That is the one thing I do not want you to do. No limiting allowed, because you can be with your specific person, and don't make it so I believe in you more than you believe in you. But thanks again so much for stopping by, and I'll see you in the video tomorrow, and I'll see you in my live at 1 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow as well.